Hello, my name is Kylie, and welcome to Bible Basics 2, the books of the Old Testament. Do you own a children's Bible but don't understand all those sections? In this video, you will learn about the books of the Bible and the fun stories you can find within them. This part will focus on the books of the Old Testament. Ready to explore the Bible? In Bible Basics 1, you'll learn the Old Testament of the Protestants' Bible is made up of 39 books and the Catholic Bible of 46 books, while the New Testament consists of 27 books. It's easier to remember all the books if we look at how they are grouped. So, let's look at the books in the Old Testament first. In the next video, you will learn about the books in the New Testament. There are 5 groups in the Old Testament. They are the books of the law, the books of history, the books of poetry, the books of major prophets, the books of minor prophets. Now, let's look closely at each of these sections. The 5 books of the law include Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. These books tell the story of how the world was created. They also tell of the first people and the rules that God created for His people. You might already be familiar with the stories of Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, and the 10 Commandments. But do you know the story of Abraham and his wife Sarah having a child at 100 years old? I know! The books of the law are full of amazing stories. Next, the 12 books of history include Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. These books tell the story of Israel and their people, called the Israelites. They moved into a land called Canaan and established it as their kingdom that lasted almost 500 years. If you want to learn about a really powerful woman, you have to read the story of Esther. She ends up saving an entire nation with her courage. Joshua was the leader of Israel and fought the Battle of Jericho, and he captured the Promised Land. The books of 1 Samuel and 1 Kings contain the story of David, who was a great king of Israel. You might know him because he fought against the giant Goliath with a stone and a sling, and he won! The 5 books of poetry include Job, Psalms, which is actually the longest book in the Bible, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon. I bet you didn't know that almost 1/3 of the Old Testament was originally written in poetry form. These poems tell stories about feeling hurt, God, life, and love. The 5 books of major prophets include Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, and Daniel. A prophet is someone who speaks for God. Some prophets were known to predict the future, but their main job was to make God's people know God better and know how much He loved them. Daniel, a well-loved prophet, was living in a foreign land, and he was thrown into a lion's den when people did not like that he prayed to God instead of praying to the king. Instead of being eaten up by lions, Daniel was saved by God's angels. Why are these listed as major prophets? Well, it's not because these prophets were more popular than the minor prophets. These books are actually longer in length than in the books of minor prophets. Let's look at these now. The 12 books of minor prophets include Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. These shorter books talk a lot about punishment for the people who don't follow God's law. They also tell the greater picture of God and His love for His people. The last book, Malachi, ends by telling about the one to come. Do you know what that might be? Christians believe this is talking about Jesus. You'll learn more about Him in the books of the New Testament. The Catholic Bible, in addition to the 39 books of the Old Testament, also includes these books: Tobit, Judith, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, Wisdom, Sirach, and Baruch. There are a few additional stories of Esther and Daniel in the Catholic Bible that are not found in the Protestant Bible. You now have a better idea of the books of the Old Testament and a little about the stories within. And remember to always be clever.
Hey!